This time I want to show you a very different kind of pastry. This is what's called flaky pastry, which is used for these light, very crisp, flaky sausage rolls. What you're now going to see is just how easy it is. This is 110 grams of plain sifted flour, and I'm adding a pinch of salt. And then this is 75 grams of block butter, which has been frozen for about 45 minutes. Toss the piece of butter first in the flour, and what I'm now going to do, using the coarse side of a four-sided grater, is grate the butter into the flour. Hold it and grate it using downward movements, which produces long curls of butter. Then keep changing the sides you hold it to stop it melting from the warmth of your hands, or you could wrap the butter in foil if you prefer. Either way, keep dipping the butter into the flour, and at the end, just throw the last little lumps in. Then, when you lift the grater, you will see the pile of grated butter curls. And now, using a small palette knife, start to distribute the gratings into the flour. Don't use your hands yet, just keep tossing and coating all the pieces of fat with the flour. Now, sprinkle a tablespoon of cold water all over. Continue to use the palette knife to bring the whole thing together, and finish off using your hands just as before. You will need more water this time than with the short crust, but the dough should come together, leaving the bowl clean. Pat it into a square, and then once again rest the pastry. Meanwhile, make the filling for the sausage rolls. In a bowl, we've got 225 grams of quality sausage meat with at least 85% pork. And this, 2 rounded tablespoons of sage leaves and half a medium onion chopped in a mini chopper. Add some seasoning here. Give it a good mix together. And then transfer it to a flat surface sprinkled with flour. Divide the sausage meat into 2 and roll using your hands like this, pinching and rolling the mixture to form 2 rolls, measuring approximately 30 centimetres long. Put them onto a piece of parchment whilst you roll the pastry. Now we've seen how to roll rounds of pastry, and this is how to roll it into an oblong or a square. Just simply knock the edges with your rolling pin as you roll. Roll it into an oblong approximately 30 by 20 centimetres, then cut it into 2 strips lengthways. Now, simply transfer 1 roll of sausage meat onto 1 piece of pastry. Because we're going to glaze the sausage rolls using beaten egg, brush some along one edge, then fold the pastry over and seal it as carefully as possible. Turn it so that the sealed edges are tucked underneath. Cut each roll into 6, starting in the middle, then cutting each piece into 3. Now make 3 snips on each one using scissors, and this will allow the steam to escape. Brush each one with the beaten egg and transfer them to a lined baking sheet. The liner is going to save you an awful lot of scrubbing and cleaning later on. They're now baked in a hot oven, 220 degrees centigrade, gas mark 7, on a high shelf, and they will take 20 to 25 minutes to become crisp and golden. One thing to remember, flaky pastry is not like full-blown puff pastry, which rises dramatically. But for sausage rolls, for me, flaky always wins hands down. So let's just have a look at a perfect sausage roll. Crisp, light flakes of pastry on the outside, with moist sage and onion sausage meat on the inside. You can, if you want to, freeze sausage rolls cooked like this, but then defrost them and just warm them through in the oven. Another brilliant recipe for quick flaky pastry are traditional Lancashire Eccles cakes. First of all, we're going to make the filling for the Eccles cakes. In the saucepan, I've got 25 grams of melted butter, and to that I'm going to add 60 grams of dark soft brown sugar, 75 grams of currants, 25 of chopped mixed candied peel, then the grated zest of half a large or small orange, and half a teaspoon of ground allspice, and then 1/8 of a whole nutmeg finely grated. After that, give it a good mix together and then roll out the pastry. So here we have a pastry rectangle again, this time 40 by 16 centimetres, which I'm now going to cut into 10 squares. Make one cut down the centre lengthways, then each piece cut into 5 equal squares. Place a heaped teaspoon of the cooled filling in the centre of each square. Then dampen the edges with cold water and turn the corners inwards like this to seal them together. Then turn the other way up so the seal is underneath. Dust the surface with a little flour and shape them into a round with your hands. Now, using a sharp knife, make 3 slashes across each one to allow the steam to escape. Then brush them with some egg white and sprinkle them with golden granulated sugar to make a glaze. Transfer the Eccles cakes onto a lined baking sheet and bake them in a preheated oven, 200 degrees centigrade, gas mark 6, for 15 minutes until they're golden brown. In Lancashire, it's traditional to serve Eccles cakes with creamy Lancashire cheese. This is Kirkham's, the best there is, and the combination is absolutely sublime. And now for a flaky finale. This is fresh salmon cooked inside the pastry with wilted baby spinach, rocket and watercress. And from a previous lesson, our own foaming hollandaise sauce, flavoured with dill. This is lovely for a special occasion.